Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes. Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes. Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes. Your eyes, the heart meets your eyes.
Hello, guys. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys doing fine. Good day for some, good evening for others. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure and a privilege and a blessing that we made it another show Someone posted here. It's been 3 years since my first live stream. That's right. 3 years ago, when I first started live streaming, I had a couple of interesting guests here. Very nice people. Russian vids, couple time, and plan to have more. Have some interesting guests lined up for the next year. So, hello, Finland is in the house. Massachusetts, Texas, Michigan, Tennessee, all over, Japan, all over, Australia, UK is in the house. Welcome. Welcome to the show, everyone. We do have an interesting show today. Let's just check, guys. I think you guys hear me well. Hello, Daisy. How are you? Waco is in the house. Waco, Texas. Thank you, Yoko. Thank you for letting me know. So, all right. So, hope you guys are doing fine today. We do have an interesting show. Let's talk about Flat Earth. This is a Flat Earth channel. That's what we talk about. And we'll be talking a little bit about Little Season because this is something that's become really important for me. That's why we see here Mount Meru in the middle. And we'll be talking about the Little Season. Matthews, Australia. Yeah, I saw your comments. Your ancestors did not visit the land of Jesus. And then, many countries, did not pay respect to the king and had to pay uh, the price of it. Hello, Sammy. So, welcome to the show, everyone. I have several things I want to cover today with you, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, welcome, Flat Earth Patriots in the house. So many good people. Thank you so much. I appreciate. May the Lord bless each one of you. I do have some songs today, new songs. Thank you so much. Well, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to share something. Last week we were talking about the firmament, and I decided I did present this some time ago, years ago actually, and 3 years ago it was one of my first presentations I presented here with Russian vids, right? So let's talk about the firmament. Some people say that the firmament's flat, and others say that this is an infinite plane, okay, goes on forever. So let's challenge that view today. I want to challenge that view today. So let me go ahead and get started here. Let me add my screen. First of all, I want to say, how the things are nowadays, how censored we are. We see when I start posting TikTok, see my video here, now 930,000 views, 372,000 views. And we go from here, from this to this, ineligible for recommendation. This is a pilot from Colombia, and he did a video in Spanish, an excellent video. So I used AI, I translated, cloned his voice, and then, all he said was the fact that when he's flying, there's no curvature, and he never adjusts for the curvature of the Earth. But TikTok has considered this ineligible for recommendation. This video here I did about the Antarctica. This is east, this is west, this is north, and now all the circumnavigations over Antarctica is always from east to west, never from north to south. So I posted this video there, ineligible for recommendation. And now my conspiracy posters, 600 views, 500, 400 views, compared to what I had before, almost a million, ineligible for recommendation. This is a 1 minute video that talks about the temple of Thor found in Brazil, proving that the continents were either closer together, like Pangaea, not long ago, about 2,000 years ago, or that the Europeans, the Vikings, knew about the existence of South America. So you see how um, shadow banned my channel has been even on TikTok. So we went from almost a million views to close to nothing, right? So pretty sad. All right, let's get started with this firmament thing. So here we see a empty Walmart, probably something that's going to be used later, maybe for like, the FEMA camps or something like that. But anyway, this is an empty Walmart. And you see that in order to support the ceiling, the flat ceiling, you need columns. You need so many columns because a flat ceiling cannot stand on its own. It's just, if you study the architecture, you need columns. So for those who say that the firmament is flat, we don't see any columns in throughout the earth. And we see another one here, another empty building. Not sure if it's a Walmart, Kmart, and another one here. You always see the columns supporting the weight of the flat ceiling because the ceiling cannot sustain itself. You you have to have those columns. And another huge one here. You see other columns supporting the weight of the ceiling. So why do we use dome roofs? Well, these are preferable to arches where the large column-free area to be covered is circular, elliptical, or approximately an equal-sided polygon. They often have been used for the roofs of exhibition buildings, arenas, planetariums, water reservoir, gas tanks. Also, the feasibility of covering large stadiums with domes has been demonstrated. Domes are relatively lightweight despite the long spans because they can be shaped so that loads induce mainly axial stresses. It can be lightweight, but it can be heavyweight as well. So domes may be readily supported on columns without ties or buttresses because they can be shaped to produce little or no thrust. All right, so let's go ahead and look at domes. You see this one here in the yard of someone. Somebody just decided to cover their jump, you know, thing there so they can play even if it's raining. You see the dome there. There are no columns in the middle. You see this one here on top of a building that brings light inside without the need of artificial light, and no columns supporting the weight of the dome. See, we have a house here. It's a dome-shaped house where the dome ceiling supports the weight, and you see how it's designed. No columns in the middle. See this? See the Superdome? I believe it's in Texas. Super Bowl. That was Super Bowl 19. And you see the dome there. No columns in the middle. How the players would be able to play, you know? So that's why domes are the correct way of building, without the columns. Now here we see around swimming pool where water has to be contained. You need the ice wall here or the wall where you contain the waters. Now water needs a container. We all know that. But here's another example. So just imagine here the continents in the middle. I should do this for next week. I'm gonna place the continents here. So this is a dome water tank, and if it properly sealed here, you can fill with water up to the top. All right, if it's sealed. Now there's another one right here. Same thing, a dome-shaped tank, sack tank. If it's sealed, you can fill all the way to the top. So why is this important? Because move on here. This you see the water contained. But for those who say that the earth is an infinite plane, you cannot have a flood on an infinite plane. Here, if the place is contained and covered, as I'm going to show next, you can fill up to the top. If the dome is sealed, you can fill up the top. If there is any living creature here, it will die. But you cannot fill an open space. This thing is going to be, you know, spilling water forever. And you will never fill because if it's an empty, infinite plane, you cannot fill the place with water. So the Noah's flood cannot happen in an open field. I demonstrated this like I think 8 years ago. I did a video about it. So I had a domed shaped flat earth model and I filled it with water. As you can see there, I'm filling the place with water and mimicking the flood in the Bible, the biblical flood, Noah's flood. So imagine that they had the mountains there, Everest and Ararat, all those mountains. And they cut down the trees so the giants or the people could not climb the trees and live. So see how I was feeling. I feel this, not all the way to the top. I did it like 1 inch just to show that the place has to be contained in order to have a flood. You cannot flood an open space, an infinite plane cannot be ever be flooded. You can't. You need to have walls still touching the ground somewhere, and this is what it is in Antarctica. That's where the ceiling meets the ground. That's why you cannot fly above 14,000 feet along Antarctica because that's, the ceiling there is too low. So I did this like 8 years ago, demonstrating how we cannot be living on a infinite plane. The place has to be contained. Otherwise, you could not have a flood. Right? See that I filled up to 1 inch or an inch and a half. You see the Gleason's map there? So imagine the tallest mountain there would be covered, totally covered with water. All the living creatures would die because the place is flooded. If I had placed mice in there or any other animal and kept filling up with water, they would have died. So that's explaining how the Noah's flood happened. It could not have happened on a ball, much less on an infinite plane. So the whole idea of an infinite plane goes out of the window because you cannot flood a place that's infinite plane, no container, no walls. So not only that proves that we have a dome, but proves that the dome touches the ground somewhere uh, 2,000 miles, 1,000 miles beyond the 70th degree south. Somewhere there, that's why we have that account from that helicopter pilot in in Antarctica, where he uh, when he was giving an account of the blue ice. So here is Nemo's garden and a quote from Peter, 2 Peter 3:5. For this they willingly are ignorant of that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth is standing out of the water and in the water. So what do we have beyond the dome? We have water. What do we have above the dome? We have water. What do we have below? It's water. The Bible constantly says that the abyss, there is an abyss, the abyss there, the waters of the deep. So this is pretty much a picture depicting how our flat Earth looks like. It's biblically based. Even a couple of days ago, I saw a video by NASA saying that it rained for 1 million years because they know there was a flood that covered the Earth. So you cannot cover a ball because the water needs a container. You cannot cover an infinite plane because water needs a container. So the only place that can be flooded, it's a flat plane with a dome on top that touches the ground. This is it's not, you don't even need to go to the Bible. If they say that, yeah, there was a flood, it rained for 1 million years. The only way that you can fill this place with water if it's contained. There's no other way. And here is where I say that in the middle, airplanes can fly up to 37,000 feet, but along the edge, the higher they can fly is around 14,000 feet. So we know that somehow, somewhere beyond Antarctica, the dome touches the ground, right? This is not only debunking the globe with the Noah's flood, but especially this infinite plane idea. You cannot fill with water an infinite plane. You can never do that. Right here, I have an animation. I found it. It's a free animation of the rotating skies over the flat Earth. I could not download the whole thing because I think you have to pay Adobe for that. But I found it to be very interesting how they did. You find this in Adobe stock. They only gave me 5 seconds, and there's a watermark there. But this is what it is. All right. So before we go on to the next topic that I wanna cover, I wanna make sure that you guys understand that we cannot have a flood on a, uh, on a infinite plane, and we cannot have a flood on a wall on a ball. There's no way. But you can Google that. That's a recent news where NASA says that it rained for 1 million years non-stop. Because they want to find a way to justify that we have evidences of a flood everywhere. I went to a place in Brazil. Actually, I have a very interesting video to play today. It's going to be our closing video. Today, we are not going to close the show with David J. Carroll. I have a different song because I want to uh, show this video highlight. But I went over a very high mountain in Brazil once, and we found shells there. You know, and people find shells everywhere. You can go to YouTube and even TikTok. They go to higher places and they find seashells over there. All right. So hello to everyone who is coming now right now to the show, joining in. Good evening. So I believe that you guys might have understood now that we cannot have an infinite plane and have it being flooded with water at the same time. It's impossible. So in order for the water to rise and kill all the animals and cover the highest mountains, this place must be contained. So that's why we have a firmament on top, and that somewhere beyond Antarctica, the firmament ends where the ground is, dome-shaped firmament. And I placed a video this week, and all those infinite plane people and ball earthers that come, just it's a common sense, you know. And a dome does not need columns because the weight is distributed all around. But if you have a flat ceiling, a flat firmament, you would have to have columns. And for those who are coming against the little season that says that during the 1,000 years reign, the firmament will be broken, I don't see that in the Bible. But if you break the firmament, it means that all the waters above will flood the earth. So I don't think that's the correct interpretation for that. I think that this we were talking last week about the Milky Way and the rift we see in the sky. I believe now it's when the New Jerusalem and Jesus returned. He came down. It opened just like the windows of heaven opened. So perhaps that's why the mud flood came from. We don't know. Uh, but I don't know. Still studying. We're gonna go on. Hello, everyone who's joining now. Yeah, floods always include mud. Yes, that's right. So, hello, Crystal. You're in the house. Welcome to the show. So, I want to play a song that I found. I have been searching a lot of videos lately, and I have come across a very interesting video by a guy. He goes by Kenev Art. He is the one who illustrated Eric Dubé's book about the plane, the flat plane, something like that. The Earth plane talks about the North Pole right here in the middle. So that's gonna be our first song for today, right? It's very nice. I added lyrics, so I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys like this song. That's our first song for today, right?
You can take your trip down south, a bit of fun to do. I hope you find what you're looking for. I pray you don't turn blue. I am lured up to the north, a feeling stuck like glue. I sense the answers that I seek on a mountain called Nauru. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip. Making the dreadful trip with hugs all around from the flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I feel I could trek with compass in my hand, keep my sights on the needle north, wind up in a far-off land, become a bold explorer, traversing sea and land, perhaps a little pirate-like, with a cutlass in each hand. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around from the flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I know this sounds like a pipe dream. Maybe I've lost my grip. Maybe this is a call to someone with a ship. Perhaps it's just a shout out to all the dreamers. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around for my fellow flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script. I'll be welcomed a hero for making the dreadful trip, for making the dreadful trip, with hugs all around and fellow flat earthers who followed the same script, followed the same script.
All right, guys. Very cool song, Ball Going to the North Pole. You know, very nice song by Kanev Art. He uploaded this like several years ago, and his channel is dead. So I came across some comments here. So shout out to all of you who joined the show. I think this guy Titus 213 is being a bit critical to other flat earthers and the way they used to uh, transmit or present their message. And I think you shouldn't be uh, that critical because everyone has a different style. If we were all the same, it would be pretty boring if you all dressed up alike and presented the same way. So the Lord has given us creativity and ways, different ways to express. And I'm seeing, even Paul says like, doesn't matter if the gospel is being spread by jealousy or what, as long as the gospel is being spread, you know. So I think you're being a bit critical to some of the flat earthers who present the message the way they want to do. That's the way they have different backgrounds. Some of them are musicians, some of them are artists, some of them are scientists, some of them are truck drivers. So they will present the way they know, and there's nothing wrong with that. They are waking up people, right? If I see anything strange, like like signs, I haven't featured many flat earthers anymore because I saw somehow the Masonic signs. Those people I try not to include on the compilations. But other than that, women or guys, they present the way they know, and the message is getting through. Someone is listening. I have heard of other people who, started thinking about it and came across more informations, and eventually were convinced the Earth is flat because of those TikToks. So, I think you're being a bit critical, and you should just, understand that everyone is different. If we were all the same, you know, we have different people presenting, and I present in a way, I have my ideas, other people present in another way, you know. So I think that it should not be that, not so critical to some of the people who are making. It's a big effort, Some 6-minute TikTok sometimes takes 2 hours for you to make it and edit. I know because I've been working on videos forever. Sometimes a 3 minutes video takes me 1 hour. So let the message out. That's okay. As long as they are not, um, you know, displaying some Masonic you know, signs. I think you'll be fine. All right, so let's go on and move on to the next topic that I want to say. So thanks, Matthew, Australia. You were correcting me about the New Jerusalem. I saw your comment here. Um, thank you. All right, so let's move on to the next topic that I want to present. Okay, so we have this verse in Second Peter's. Second Peter chapter 3. So, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away, a great noise, the elements shall melt with fervent heat, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in a holy conversation, godliness, looking forward and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat? A couple of years ago, when I wasn't even a flat earther, and I came across. I used to watch the Ancient Alien series. There was a video in season 3, very important. And I tried to play this video here. I played it before to test and got blocked. So the only way that I found it to play the video, I had to take screenshots and make like a slideshow, right? But take a look at this place that melted, literally melted.
Sindh Province, Pakistan, 1922. An officer of the Archaeological Survey of India is led by a Buddhist monk to an area believed to have been a religious monument. But under the mounds of dirt, archaeologists find instead an ancient Indus Valley city dating back to 2000 BC. It is called Mohenjo-Daro, or Mound of the Dead, and it is one of the oldest civilizations discovered in the world.
Mohenjo-Daro was very advanced for that time. They had sanitation. They had all kinds of good things going. And they had a lot of trade going with Mesopotamia.
The city of Mohenjo-Daro rivaled the ancient civilizations in Egypt and Mesopotamia. Archaeologists believe that over 35,000 people once occupied the city. However, only 43 skeletons have been discovered at the site. There are many theories surrounding the mysterious disappearance of the Indus people from Mohenjo-Daro. In 1977, British researcher David Davenport discovered that part of the archaeological site showed evidence of having been destroyed by an extremely powerful explosion.
He found what remains of the blast, and he believed that this area was the epicenter of something that he believed was an explosion that destroyed a part of the city, and he found the evidence of vitrified pottery, bricks that were totally fused, melted, or vitrified.
Scholars claim that several calcified skeletons found at the site suggest they suffered an instantaneous death.
In Mohenjo-Daro, they found bodies, arm in arm, skeletons, arm in arm, that had been vitrified, virtually vitrified.
For years, restricted access to the site has prevented scientists from analyzing the vitrified ruins. But in 2014, mineralogist Dr. Sam Iyengar was able to obtain a piece of fused pottery from Mohenjo-Daro and put it through a series of tests.
The only way the clay can be converted into something which we saw is subjecting the clays to a very, very high temperature. I'm talking 4,000 to 5,000 degree Fahrenheit. That is not something an early civilization can do intentionally. It has to be something supernatural.
Could this pottery sample, which shows irrefutable evidence of having been subjected to extreme heat, be definitive evidence that Mohenjo-Daro really was the site of some type of powerful explosion in the ancient past? David Davenport and other researchers of India's ancient Vedic texts have suggested that this is the case, and that Mohenjo-Daro may in fact be the kingdom of Lanka, a city whose destruction is detailed in the Indian epic known as the Ramayana. In the Ramayana, it is described that the god Vishnu decides the leader of Lanka, a mortal named Ravana, has grown too powerful. Vishnu takes the human form of Rama and does battle with Ravana, who has become like the gods himself.
Ravana was a very formidable enemy. In fact, most of his power it was acquired from God Shiva himself, because he was a great devotee of Shiva, and Shiva gave him lethal weapons.
During the battle between Rama and Ravana, they used particular weapons of energy, weapons of the gods. They have a very big power of destruction.
It was described as the sun turning into 50 even more brighter suns with this incredible blast. So some people have suggested that perhaps at Mohenjo-Daro some type of a nuclear blast occurred. Not only do we have a textual reference to a possible nuclear blast, but we also find physical evidence that show vitrification of stone. And the only way that stone can be vitrified is if it's exposed to extreme heat.
This is not mythology, this is not superstition, this is documented historical events of people that are warring with each other using advanced technology.
Lots of misinformation, of course, because this is ancient aliens and they push the aliens agenda. But I think the dates are wrong, of course, not 2000 BC. But I think that the coming of the Lord with fire destroyed many kingdoms, many wicked kingdoms. And, I started to think about it when I saw this passage in Peter. Thinking like, with now thinking, believing that according to, the words of Jesus, that he would come back in that generation. And he did. And he came back and he destroyed many of those kingdoms. So I don't think this is, although it's interesting to know that the city, you see melted, people like morphed together, the melting at melting point. Of course, this is not an explosion or anything alien. It's, in my opinion now, as I have a new view of things, I think this is the return of the Lord in fire and destroying many of these kingdoms that existed and were, just like in the times of Noah. Another place that I came across, share here with you guys. So this is a place in Belgium where they excavated and they found, more ruins. And you see here, right in the middle, center of the city, you see there they digging up. So it's very weird to have all that mud covering up, entire cities, entire towns. And, they found Roman coins here. So a lot of things happened during the Roman period when Jesus returned, in my opinion, and he destroyed many things. So this is in Belgium, and we could go on forever because there are many many cities, with the same thing. It's same, I have been showing to you guys places like in Brazil, places in. I'll play the video here. This is another one in Belgium. All these places being excavated. What covered all this place in mud? What destroyed this whole thing? Around the same time. So you find many places like this everywhere. And that's not back in like the Noah's time. They found Roman coins and Roman artifacts, rings, and one of the videos here, he picks up a coin. I think it's this one. He's going to show a coin with a Caesar on it. So why is this thing all buried? So see right there, it's written there. See the Caesar. So a lot of things that makes me think that this stuff is not Jesus really returned, and these things are being concealed from us. This is a map that supposedly dates to 12th century. It shows Asia, Europe, and Africa, the equator, and the outer rim. And this is also a map from that same time, says Globular Terra, or Terra Globo, or Earth, Globe Earth. But again, this is a geocentric map with the sun, the moon, all the so-called planets going around. So this is what I, looking at the little season eschatology and seeing all these things that happen, and we don't learn this stuff in seminars or anything. So I do have one video here, really important, I want to play. I tried to play this video a couple of days ago, but so let's take a listen to this, how they forge the scriptures. So many, when you quote like Irenaeus, Irenaeus said that John lived and wrote Revelation in 95 AD. Actually, all those information are given to us by the Vatican. So we don't know if they are giving us true information. So that's why this video, please take a listen. It's really important. I also had to edit because BBC from London blocked the images. So I had to insert screenshots instead. So take a listen to this.
What I'm going to tell you about today was not hid under a bushel. It was a front page newspaper, front page on the major newspapers in England. And that is the matter questioning the authenticity of Sinaiticus. And I suspect many of you here know that Sinaiticus is one of the pillars of the modern critical text. But something else has happened in the last 10 years, and that is high-definition digital photography of both Vaticanus and Sinaiticus were placed on the internet, revealing details many conventional scholars never saw. Do you know that Westcott and Hort never actually saw the Sinaitic manuscript? They saw facsimiles of it, which are crude by modern standards. They never saw Vaticanus, and we'll touch on that in a few minutes. Only about 4 Protestant scholars were allowed to see it. But today, you can go online. You can go online tonight and look up Sinaiticus or Vaticanus on the internet, and you get to the right place. You can actually see each of these manuscripts page by page by page. And collectively, this new information has demonstrated that neither Sinaiticus or Vaticanus are ancient. They are not old, at least by biblical standards. And so there is, number one, the personal testimony of Simonides. He said, I did it, and he produced eyewitnesses. Guy by the name of Callinicos, his uncle Benedict, and another scribe there at Mount Athos. 2, there is the physical evidence. It doesn't look old. It's been mutilated. The text flows around the wormholes and not the other way around. Back in 2011, the BBC, and of course they were aware that 2011 was the 400th anniversary of the King James Bible. So they went to the British Museum and did an interview there about Sinaiticus. I mean, it shows there, they don't know what they're talking about. Sinaiticus has nothing to do with the King James Bible. But I don't think they knew that. But the point is this, with a camera running, and it used to be on the internet. I'm not sure if that clip is still up there on YouTube. But I've seen it. And that is, they pulled Sinaiticus off the shelf there in the library or the museum. And while the camera was running and the reporter was interviewing, the docent or the librarian there was flipping the pages like you'd flip it in an old telephone book. Folks, something that is 1,700 years old is not supple. It's stiff and fragile. In fact, when I was researching from this book, I wrote to the British Museum and requested if I could come over there and look at the document. Well, first they made me jump through a bunch of hoops. I had to produce recommendations from other scholars. Dr. Brown wrote a nice recommendation. And did you get in that also, Brother Stringer? Yeah, Brother Stringer did also. And so I sent those over there, and I told them my purpose. I'd like to come and examine Sinaiticus. They wrote me back. Well, first of all, they said, Well, we consider it so fragile and so delicate and so old that we're not letting anybody look at it anymore. Of course, their own librarian was flipping through it like an old Sears catalog. And at one point, but they said, "We'll answer your questions." So I sent them a couple of questions, and then I wrote an email and said, you surely are aware that there's question about the antiquity of this. I mean, there's been a couple of guys in England who have written on this. And surely you're aware that there's question about the age of Sinaiticus. Have you done any testing of the document? Take a small portion and do a carbon-14 test on it. Now, carbon-14 isn't any good for evolution. It's only good for 3,000 or 4,000 years. But it would tell us if that document was 150 years old or 1,500 years old. They wouldn't answer. Silence. Crickets. And either they had done it and they didn't want to admit it, or they didn't want to do it because they're afraid what they'd find out. And so there was the personal testimony, there was the physical evidence. Number 3, there is internal textual evidence. Years later, in the late 19th century, after Simonides was dead and the controversy had died down, but a man by the name of Sir James Donaldson, who was considered England's top literary expert of that era, did an analysis of Sinaiticus just from purely a literary point of view. And he said the words in portions of it were in modern Greek and not ancient, or we'd call it Koine Greek. It was in modern Greek, portions of it, some words. I mean, that's like reading Shakespeare and he's talking about his iPhone. I mean, that tells you something right there. This is not ancient. This was done relatively recently. When Dr. Dale Johnson read that, he said, that settled it for me. And so the collective evidence says to me that Sinaiticus is not old. And the whole premise of the critical text is we got to go to the oldest manuscripts to determine what is the Word of God.
So imagine they faked the whole Sinaiticus, like 1800s, all those documents being written recently. You see the amount of deception that has come up in the last 200, 250 years. Starting with the globe, the doctrine of the globe, as I presented about 3 weeks ago, how the curvature is starting to, they created the math in the 1800s, the so-called, what's the name, Haber-Sine formula was created in 1825. So, or Haber-Sine formula, something like that. So everything has been manufactured the last 200, 250 years. So that coincides with the little season, the age of deception, when the devil is out of he's been loosed and he's out to deceive the nations. And you heard the guy saying that only 4 Protestants, and who knows if they were really Protestants, perhaps they were Jews, were able to look at those documents in the Vatican. So what they are giving us, it's something that they manufacture and they give it to us as true. That's why you cannot count on Irenaeus wrote in 150 that John died in 95 and he wrote Revelation. And no, everything was written before 66 AD. John saw the Mount Vesuvius and exploding, the mountain falling to the sea. And he wrote about it. He wrote about the temple before it was destroyed. And so that's why you guys who are still considering dispensationalism should be looking at that with a grain of salt. Have you heard of the 1,000 pastors that were flown to Israel, a couple of weeks ago? You imagine the influence they will get and coming back and teaching their churches about a supposed Antichrist and all that stuff, And their plans is to fly 100,000 pastors to Israel, you know. Then you imagine all the futurist theology, eschatology coming back from those guys, right? So you really need to consider, you know, and start looking at the facts that perhaps, Little Caesar is the correct interpretation of things because Jesus did fulfill his word. He just did what he said he was going to do. I need to check the comments here real quick. And sorry that I haven't been keeping up. I will, before we close the show, I will go back and talk about comments here, all the stuff. So the next thing that I want to say to you is about Candace Owens. She was involved in TFE for a while, and she's a shill. You guys know that she's a shill. Now, I can't find the words exactly to describe this whole Charlie Kirk thing, but I've been saying that she's pushing a false narrative, right? And this guy, he took the words out of my mouth. So sometimes when I play videos, just because I can't express myself clear enough, and I find people who can, they do it. So I do need you to pay attention. Take a look at what this guy says. He describes exactly what I've been trying to say about Candace Owens for the last 6 weeks. Okay? So please take a listen to this short video.
Some of you are so blind to what's happening right in front of you that stop tagging Candace Owens. Stop saying that you stand with Candace. Stop thinking that Candace is close to figuring anything out. She is literally the definition of someone who has controlled opposition. And seeing that she has the #1 podcast in the world right now, it makes me so sick thinking about how many people are this susceptible to their manipulation. We know that the CK incident was fake. So why does she say everything except that? She talks about how we're being lied to and that the story doesn't make sense and the FBI isn't doing enough investigating. She is secretly led, managed, and influenced by the very thing she claims to oppose. Now, while she's supposedly trying to get to the bottom of what happened, she's simultaneously making you believe that it actually did happen, which is exactly what they want. They don't care which side of the aisle you're on, whether you believe the official narrative or you believe that there's holes in the official narrative. As long as you believe the narrative, which is that Charlie was assassinated. And this is how we know that she's controlled opposition. Because in all her questions, she's never once questioned the authenticity of the videos. She's never talked about how the hands look fake in the casket. She's never talked about how the ring switches fingers. She's never talked about how the chair phased through the table. She's never talked about how his hair seemed to be glitching. She doesn't talk about the hologram projector that was behind him. She hasn't talked about how there was no blood on his white shoes. She hasn't talked about how there was no blood trail to the car. All she does is question the official narrative of how it happened. What she doesn't question is if it happened. If you truly were attempting to get to the bottom of this, you would be questioning that.
Does Candace Owens have ties to Freemasonry and the Order Eastern Star? We're going to start with her Twitter header, or X header at the top. That's an awfully nice checkerboard pattern floor there. You have Candace. Are we allowed to ask these kinds of questions? Because you said you were one of the founding Masons of Turning Point. Just like your husband's one of the chairmen for Turning Point UK. But did you know that that was a chapter for the Order Eastern Star? That's what OES stands for right there. Are we allowed to ask these kind of questions, Candace? Can you explain why there's a turning point for uncresting of American Freemasonry in this Life magazine? The Eagle Scouts, huh? You mean Charlie Kirk, who was a member of the Boy Scouts and earned the rank of an Eagle Scout? It's Turning Point USA, right? Turning Point USA. Turning Point Chapter. Turning Point UK. This is her husband, George Farmer. I'm going to show you his father now. Mr. Lord Farmer. That's a great name to be calling somebody a lord. See how it says he was a member of House of the Lords? House of the Lords. The upper house of the Parliament of the United Kingdom. You guys know who King Charles's father was? King Philip was a Freemason, part of the Navy Lodge 2612. That's who her husband has ties to, right? You can only be a woman in Freemasonry if you're married to a Master Mason. or somebody along the bloodline. Who do you think this dude works for right now? He's literally a merchant, so on and so forth. He has ties to the royal bloodline.
So you see that she's really control the position, and she was involved with TFE, all that stuff. So you see that there's nothing good coming from there, and it made me sad. That the reason I'm bringing this up today is because I saw someone on TikTok who I follow. She's a flat earther. She does great videos, and she posted a video saying, "Oh, I can't wait to watch Candace, and see the drops, she's gonna post." But it's purely misinformation, So that's what I've been trying to say to you guys concerning dispensationalism, concerning all that stuff, because they are pushing misinformation. When you see Hollywood making 23 movies about the Antichrist, when you see hundreds, if not thousands, of books pushing, the third temple, the Antichrist, all that's dispensationalism idea, you gotta smart up, you gotta wise up and start. Wait a minute, this is too clear. They are pushing an agenda, so you need to start to pay attention, all right, and ask questions. That's what we do. We are flat earthers. We ask questions. So if they are pushing this too much, it's probably not what happened. Remember 9/11, the very same day, they already had the name of 19 people. They knew everything. They pushed that for even today. So whatever they are pushing, it's probably not the truth. So if they are pushing Third Temple, Antichrist agenda, futurism, the 2,000 years gap in Daniel's prophecy, or Charles Kirk is real there. All that stuff, it's probably the opposite, right, of what they are saying. So that's what I'm saying to you. We got to take those things with a grain of salt, right? And that's what I've been doing. And I think I started not trusting many pastors because I don't know if some of them are just mistaken because they went to seminars, and those seminars are teaching the wrong thing for the past 150, 200 years. And they just grew up with that, learned that stuff in school, in seminar. But some of them perhaps are gatekeepers, are purposely misleading the flock, right? All right, so let me play another song here before we move on. This is a song that someone shared with me on TikTok. So let's take a listen. We should be right back.
Yeah. Hey, hey, listen up. There's not a single question what we all be about. Yeah. No spin, no tricks, no bitchin', no pout. Flat earth is the gold scientist. Take a seat, we gonna stir shit up with this brand new beat. Wake up, homie, you wake up.
Your face is in the milk. All your heroes up in space cause you took the blue pill.
Yeah. You have your self-theory and you add scientific. All the facts that you know seem super terrific. But did you even stop and wonder why they aren't called laws? When we ask that question, we just grab on the balls.
You got balls, got theories, got your moms on speed dial. They got rockets, got wise, CGI, and they had that for a while. Got lies, got checks, got a cloud that says sex. Got a rat in space, got a fly on Mars.
Got the moon with no stars. I got bars, I got cars, I got a brain that goes far. Wake up, homie, you wake up.
Your face is in the middle. All your heroes up in space cause you took the blue pill.
Yeah, I got signs, got facts, I got proof, don't be a bitch. And the shit you believe, well baby, I got the fix. See, we know, bro, we know beliefs the enemy of knowing. The lies and the thieves will all get what they get coming.
Just a lie to deceive, just to make you believe. For that watch, that Jeep, that luxury suite. It'll
wake you up
cause you fast asleep.
Tick-tock clock, ticket flat, troopers locked in. I'ma take you where you never been, let's begin. Time after time you fall, but we help you up. Off the illusion of the ball, yeah, we level it up. Water is a fluid, it escapes its container. Density to real gravity, we be your new trainers. Planes ain't chasing spins at the equator. Straight path, fastest route, see it clear sooner or later.
If you tip the ocean, watch the water all splash. If space was real, homie, then I believe that. Sun ain't massive, just a local light. Moonlight is funny actors, missing they lines. Once you fly, you don't go back, that's fact. Once you understand, click, can't unsee that.
No spin, no tricks, no bitchin', no pout. Flat Earth is the gold scientist. Take a seat, we gonna stir shit up with this brand new beat. Wake up, homie, you wake up.
Oh, your face is in the middle. All your heroes up in space cause you took the blue pill.
Yeah, I like my Earth without so much girth, but the ladies be purty when they be so curvy. NASA got that CGI, and no, I don't intend to lie.
That's Laser Test on TikTok. He has a channel that just songs, so he asked me to play one of his songs here. So that's what I did. So if you enjoy just listening, he has a channel that's mostly songs, rap. If you are into this specific genre, you can follow him and just listen to his music. All right. One thing I want to share with you guys here, I did a cover about the staircase of disbelief. So what I'm doing, I'm actually writing a book. Okay, this is gonna be the title and the cover of the book. I already started with the first chapter, JFK. It's gonna be this size, about 10 inches by 7.5, or 26 centimeters by 13, 26 by 13. So I started a new book called The Staircase of Disbelief. I'm going to start with the steps that I took, and I will spend a lot of time on Flat Earth and the Millennium Kingdom. So it's going to be, I know, it's going to take maybe another 2 months for this to be ready. But I'm really excited about this. Also, when I share, this is the famous land of Jesus map. Okay, it's the 1713 map with the land of Jesus here. The land of Jesus. You see the Greenland, the North Pole, it's all connected. And we can actually see this when we go to Google, New School, it's still there, as I showed you guys. This is live right now. Okay, it's see being updated, and it's still there. It's hidden, but it's still there. Right, the whole land of Jesus. So just like we have on the map right here. So somebody asked me if I can have this map on the store. So I asked Rick Hinckley. The download is free. The image is free for downloading. But if you want to print, I'm gonna drop a link. You can order this beautiful map, 1713. And then this one I have my own edit, because it was like the land of Jesus was like upside down. So I kind of fixed. I have the same orientation as the Gleason's map, with South America here and Australia, and land of Jesus right here. The way they have the original, the land of Jesus is right here. It's like upside down. So I'll drop the link, and if you want to, support the channel, you can order one. This is the link I'm gonna drop, and then I'm gonna move on and reply to some comments. Okay. All right. So the land of Jesus map. If you want a print, if you want the download is free. I have a folder with you can download all those files and maps. But if you want to order a print and help the channel, if you want to become a subscriber, if you want to become a Patreon, you're welcome. So let me go over some of the comments. Sorry that I haven't kept up, but I still got some more stuff to share. Time goes so fast. We've been on for like 1 hour already. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll go ahead and present what I have. I have one more thing to present for you guys, and then we will dedicate to chat only. So what I've been doing, I asked ChatGPT about ways of searching for videos on YouTube and beating the algorithm, trying to connect to find videos, flat earth videos on YouTube. And ChatGPT gave me the prompt, and he told me just to copy and paste on Google, and I would find those videos that are buried behind the algorithm. So I've been finding excellent, interesting videos. Look at this one from 2008. I can imagine people were making flat earth videos in 2008. Take a listen to this one.
Imagine the shape of the Earth. Round. Spherical. Now, imagine that perception is wrong. Imagine that all the continents and lands of the Earth are flattened and expanded, and that the shape of the Earth is more of a disc. Flat, you could say. A flat Earth.
The Earth it's not round actually. It's egg-shaped and flattened on the poles.
It's a sphere.
It's almost a sphere. It's a squash sphere.
It's round.
Circle or sphere.
A sphere?
I think it's round as far as I know.
I would consider it.
I heard it was square before.
What?
I think that's absurd. It's definitely round.
Well, the Stanford New Magellan proved that it was not.
I'd listen to why they think that.
No. Why? Listen to pictures of it.
What if
the world is flat?
Hi, we're here in the sunny Maryland city of Baltimore, asking people here what they think of our flat earth theory. Now, what do you guys believe to be the shape of the earth?
I'm thinking it's round. Yeah, it's round.
It's round? And what if I told you that was false and the earth is actually flat?
I'm a liar. I would have
Why?
to say you would need severe scientific backup.
If it was flat, somebody by now would have walked straight off this platform.
Not possible.
But we have gravity. We've got like a hemisphere and stuff.
Wow! So you wouldn't even consider it? That it could be flat?
Yeah, they pretty much fought that one out, and I think the round is ruling.
All right, well, that's just one person's beliefs.
Don't believe it? Look at the facts. If the Earth were round, water would just run down the sides, just like on a basketball. If a person placed at the top of the round Earth stays put, then a person at the bottom would fall right off.
Imagine that the Earth is flat like so. You put a person anywhere on the map that you wish, and he stays standing.
The earth is flat!
The World's Fact Book, page 319, fact number 6734. The Earth is flat.
What if the world as you know it is not the world as it is? Flat Earth. What if you're being lied to? What if everything you thought you knew was wrong?
Obviously, the earth cannot be round.
Very interesting video, don't you think so? 2008. Really nice. People were asking questions, and I've been finding. I actually. Let me share this with you guys. I found more stuff. I found this one here. It's from Brazil. It's a band. It's a female rock band, Dominatrix, Flat Earth, right there, 19 years ago. This guy here, he has an excellent Flat Earth Bible. He uploaded in 2009. I actually will make this available, all 4 parts, I put it into one video, and I'm gonna make it available on my Flat Earth sermons today. Very nice. He really nails it. And I have two more to play. I have this commercial here. Is anybody from Wellington, New Zealand today in the chat? Take a listen to this commercial here.
But to really experience all that is Wellington, you need to take yourself above and beyond. We're starting at the summit of Mount Victoria, one of the city's most notable vantage points. The tour company is called Flat Earth, but they'll take you over all kinds of terrain. What makes Wellington so unique in your mind?
I guess it's just the compact nature of the place. I mean, we've got a stadium over there, we've got the boats coming in and out, we've got the activity centre down here, and that really is, to me, typifies Wellington. Houses clinging to the side of the hills precariously, some people think.
Tours encompass numerable suggestions, from wine trails to whale watching, which you can mix and match to your heart's desire. And since we're on Mount Vic, we may as well take in a little of the very popular Lord of the Rings tour.
Well, Mariama, welcome to Get Off the Road. This is where the hobbits were escaping the Nazgul. People always look at the trees to see what was happening, the little hole down here where the hobbits were hiding.
Do you find there's still a great deal of interest in the film?
Huge, huge. From sort of two-person tours to 46 people, all coming through.
If you don't have access to wheels when you're in Wellington, this is a great way to get to experience the ocean bays.
10, 20 minutes from the city, great sea pounding in through the entrance to the harbour where the ferry's just coming in. You're in a completely different world.
And this is the world of artist Lynn Sandry, whose work gains inspiration from this rugged coast. Flat Earth will lead you right to her studio door.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, how
This is Mariama.
Nice to meet
Good to see you.
Well, your work's great. Thank you.
Flat Earth, Flat Earth tours. I wonder if they still operate in New Zealand. And I have a last one here, also from 2008, Flat Earth chips, right? These are a couple. They are doctors, and their website is still on today. This was available. This was uploaded in 2008. They talk about losing weight and how those flat earth potato chips are with much less fat than others. Very interesting stuff. So here's the commercial.
Can a chip have a half serving of vegetables baked into every ounce and be delicious? Sure. When pigs fly.
All right, so a lot of interesting stuff I've been finding buried, and I actually have a lot of stuff already uploaded to my channel. So stay tuned this week. Every day I'm going to upload a video, an interesting video that I have found, and that should be interesting for us to see, right? So it's almost time for me to wrap up, guys. I want to wrap up first. Go back here real quick. For those of you who missed, let's go over real quick here. We need there's a dome above in the sky, and that dome cannot be, we don't have a flat firmament. You would need columns to sustain the weight of the waters above. So that's what we covered today, the first part of this video. You see all those flat ceilings, you need to have columns, otherwise it would fall apart, break apart. It would collapse, everything would collapse. So you need columns for a flat ceiling. But on a dome, you don't need columns because the weight is distributed along the edge of the dome, right? That's how these domes do not have any. And this is a dome house and a super dome, because a dome can sustain itself. And the only way that you can flood this place is if you live on a flat surface where the ceiling touches the ground somewhere. On an open space, you cannot flood the place, but when the place is sealed, that's the only way you can flood the place. So today we're gonna end the show differently. I'm gonna play a different song. This is a place, it's a place in Brazil called Roraima. Okay, it's a state there bordering Venezuela, and this is Brazil right here. That's a Roraima. That's a state in Brazil, and we see here Venezuela and the Guianas. And this is a huge mountain, okay, which is, in my opinion, it's a tree, right? One of the biggest one that I have seen. So this is how I'm gonna end the show today. If you guys like this song by, I forgot the name of the guy, The Way. The name of the song is called The Way. I have featured this song before. So that's how I'm gonna end the show today, with this song. And I'm sorry that I haven't kept up with all the chat. Please leave a message and I will reply to them, everyone. If you have any questions concerning the show, anything you saw today that I haven't addressed during the live, okay, I will leave a comment and then I'll reply to the comment, okay? So I want to end the show with this song before we reach 1:30, all right? So thanks, guys, for being here. Please support the channel, become a patron today if you can. If you're not, you're always welcome. Everything is free. You can download books and maps all for free. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Stay tuned. This is a very interesting ending that I have prepared for you today. Take care, guys.
I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew, and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven.